Okay, describe how you work with a follower who is well trained but lacks the willingness to complete assigned tasks.
It's a good question. If they don't have a willingness to accomplish a task, then I think it has to do with how vision was cast to them on what we're trying to do. And honestly, if it's stuff that doesn't really resonate with them or doesn't really make sense for them, depending upon the task, the business place, or wherever they're at, like if it's the workplace, you kind of have to do certain things. So whether they want to do it or not, it's part of the job. But if it's a little looser, what I would kind of do is ask them why it's not desirable, meet them where they're at, and just kind of work with them to kind of get the task done, and just kind of paint the picture of sometimes you have to do stuff that's not necessarily fun. Your job's not always perfect. You're not always going to do the most exciting thing. It's just part of what happens when you jump in the workplace.
Okay. Now, what about the opposite situation, where you're dealing with a follower who is very willing to complete a task but lacks the ability?
Got to teach them. I mean, if you're a manager, that's your job. If I'm the manager of a manager, I coach the manager on how to train them. Depending upon where you're at in the chain of command, it's part of your job to train your people. Whether you have a designated trainer or whatever it is, realistically, you have to take the time to cater to people and make sure they can do the job, especially if they're eager. Like that's awesome. You just got to make sure they have the actual ability to do stuff, otherwise they can mess stuff up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What can happen to prevent an employee from accomplishing a goal?
Lots of stuff. Even the past couple questions you asked me, if it's not exciting for them or they don't know how, like a lot of times employees could be their own worst enemy, like not able to accomplish tasks. But realistically, as a manager, it kind of falls onto you. Like if you're leading people and they don't know how to do stuff, it's kind of on you to help them get there. I think there's just a reality that comes with being a leader. You have to take yourself outside of the picture to make your people the most effective at what they do. Because if they're effective, then you look effective as a manager. Just reality. There's going to be jobs that you have to particularly focus on, but if your people can't do what they need to do because of inability or desire, you have to kind of manage house. If people don't care about the work you're doing, you got to fire them. It sucks, but that's a reality. But if they care about it and they're excited and they just don't know how, come alongside them, teach them. As long as you continue to communicate with your employees, I think there's the ability for things to continue to grow. But most of the time, it falls into those categories of inability or lack of desire. And if both of them happen at the same time, they probably aren't fit for the job, which is hard, but it's part of it.
Yeah. What behaviors or skills do you use to motivate your followers to accomplish goals?
On my half, like behaviors and skills that I have?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's just being a listener. Like you have to know your employees. And whether that comes to the interview process or just spending time with them. If you don't know the people that you're managing or what they're good at or what they can do, you're going to be a bad manager because you don't know where to put them. People management is, if done poorly, it's going to be the downfall of your business, whatever you do. But as a leader, your job is to kind of get to know them. If it's not your strength, guess what? It has to be now. Like you have to know your people. And if you can't manage people effectively, it's just a sign that you're not trying or you're not putting the time in to actually see where they fit in. Behaviorally, like I think it's just listening, it's asking questions and getting to know them well. Not like you have to go chum with them all the time. Like you don't have to take them outside of work every single day. You got to see what they can do. And if you realize they can't do a particular thing, maybe it's a relocation of them for a different position so that they can do a job more effectively.